This is an energy update. I want to talk to you about the very strange feeling that we're stepping into. A feeling like you're hovering outside of your body, and you're being prepared. That's what all of this is about. You're being prepared for what's to come. There are new timeline leaders about to step into place. I'll explain all of that as we go through. But for you at the personal level, there will be weird moments where you're going to feel almost as if you're hovering outside of your body. And you're going to think, maybe I'm ungrounded, maybe I'm avoidant, maybe I'm disconnected. I've got to get back in. This feels a little bit off. And certainly it will feel off if you're used to being more solid in your body, if you're used to being more inside your embodiment. Of course, a lot of you guys aren't. So this may feel kind of normal if you're feeling yourself in a hovering type space. For some people, it's going to equate to a limbo-like space. What this is your crew working with you. You know, you look in the mirror and you think, well, you're just one person. You act as if you're just one person. You are the face of an entire entourage of support. Your spiritual team is comprised of many, many beings. Just because they're unseen does not mean they're unreal. They are surrounding you right now. The ancestral lineage. You see what happens, ancestral and ancestors. Anyway, they are so in your field. Your crew so in your field because they're aware, they can see what's going on, and that is the rewiring, the recalibrating. Why? Because we need to mitigate the upcoming distractions. They are everywhere. They are going to become more and more prolific. And the crazy thing about all the distractions that you're going to see is every time a distraction event's going to come up, you're going to go, that was it. So for example, war breaks out over there, a UFO sighting over there, political upheaval over there, something going on with Diddy there, Trump there, and every time you see a major event happening, you're going to go, that's what it was. So it's a feeling like you're holding your breath, waiting for something to happen. You see it happen, you go, oh, that's what it was. Oh, no, sorry, hold on. Actually, that's what it was. That's actually what it was. So it's almost like the media is going to be in a competition with itself to keep pumping up the volume on all the distraction events. And it's not to say that those distraction events aren't happening. In many cases they are. It's not to say they're not real, they're not tragic, etc. It's to say that there's a concerted effort right now to keep you out of the one place where you're powerful, and that is inside your embodiment. You're coming online in a way that you haven't come online before. You're coming alive in a way you haven't come alive before. So the necessity is there for you to be a little bit out of the body so that the rewiring can take place. Let's describe it like this. Imagine if I have a house and I need to gut the house or redo the house, and part of the renovation requires me to move everything out of the way. I'm going to probably move my family out of the home while I do that. It's just going to be easier that way. It's a similar type of thing that's taking place for us. And it's not going to happen for the whole day. There will just be moments, little incremental moments that you're aware of yourself being in a hovering place. That's the best way that I can describe it. Much of the month of October, you're going to experience that hovering and then grounded again. Hovering, grounded again. Every time you hover, your team is working with you. And you get what I'm saying by hovering, right? It's not that you're disconnected at all. It's just making more space for you to come in more fully. Because the body, the physical body, is where the programs of the false matrix were held. So that's what's being dissolved, rewired right now to allow for a more seamless connection to your soul, to allow for your soul to come streaming in like never before, but in a way that doesn't blow your circuitry. Because many people have asked me this before, why doesn't the soul just come into the body? Because honestly, at an energetic level, we're not capable of tolerating that. At an energetic level, that would fry our circuitry to such a degree that we may never recover. So what's taking place right now, you could think of it almost as a psychic surgery happening en masse. in case you're not familiar with the concept, a psychic surgery is a similar type of thing where you have a crew of normally ethereal beings that are working with the physical body. During that time, you will feel a little bit disconnected, but you're still there. You're still able to observe what's going on. So once again, it is a rewiring of the body to speed up. This is because if we did this on our own steam right now, it would take us not just many months. This would take us many, many years to reach the level of connection that we're headed to. And here's an interesting thing. People so often ask, why are we left to struggle? Why are we left to do this all on our own? You guys, we are so incredibly supported. But to receive the support is perhaps the hardest part of being supported. It's very easy to lament, oh, I'm so alone, I'm so abandoned, I'm so forlorn. But then so often when that support steps in, it's then that we almost want to defend, it's crazy, almost want to defend and protect our pain, defend and protect all that has caused our misery. We're wired to do that. So the intervention that's taking place right now is to lift us up over all of the hurdles of the programs of the false matrix. Another thing people have so often asked me is not just why is there no intervention, but how is it possible? Big question, you guys. How is it possible that we're all going to ascend? When you look at the state of humanity, you're going to see people that are in confusion and delusion and not up to the task of stepping into a 5D body. How is it possible? This is how. What I'm describing to you here, this amazing intervention that's taking place to recalibrate the body to allow for more soul. I put up a video, the last one in fact, just before this release, was about walk-ins. There was method to my madness. There was a reason that I've started the conversation with you guys about walk-ins. Because what is a walk-in? If you go to that video, and you'll get much more information by checking in on that video, it's ultimately saying to you the walk-in is more soul in your body. And that's what we need right now to mitigate and offset the intervention, the malevolent intervention that is being aimed at our timeline in order to steer humanity away from their ascension. So we've got an unprecedented amount of support. We've got this beautiful intervention that, of course, is soul-led, allowing for, could we call it a boost? Could we call it a healing boost? So when you feel like you're looking at the external world right now, waiting for something to happen, when you feel that feeling, I want you to know that there's a lot that's about to take place, but it's all, don't let it define you. This is all the distraction events. You are being primed to anchor light into your body, to bring in a higher alignment. You guys, there could be no bigger purpose than what we are about to do in being the anchors of light on planet Earth right now. So if it means you're a little bit hovery every now and then, hovering outside of your body, you're good. That rewiring, restructuring is going to bring about such an elevation in consciousness. Will it mean that you're instantly enlightened? No. Will it mean all your problems disappear? Absolutely not. Will it mean that without learning something, you just know it? Without having to dissect and analyze something, you suddenly see a solution? Yes, that's what it's going to feel like. But also, it's going to feel like you're more present. That word that I used earlier, to be more anchored, that's a good one. You're going to feel that you're more anchored. So as much as we're going to have that hovering, strange feeling of not being as grounded as we normally are, when you're grounded, when you step into your body, please understand that's going to take practice, and you will be practicing through the whole month of October, practicing to be in that grounded state. A little bit in the hovering, a little bit in the groundedness, a little bit hovering, and then deeper into the groundedness. Whoop, you're popped out again, and you're back in again. So it would be easy for you to think something's going on, something's weird and wacky. I can't stay present with myself. Allow for all of this to take place. When I look at the energetic world that we're walking through right now, do you know what it looks like? It looks like swirling energetically. The world is swirling. And what that shows me is potential of multiple things taking place. So imagine that almost like a build-up. That's where we are right now. It's that build-up energy, the swirling energy. There can be 1,000 lights in the sky, but none of that competes with the lights that are being lit within you right now. It was always so easy for us to believe, so easy to conceive that light was outside, that divinity was external to us. The rewiring and the recalibrating right now, man, it is your whole chakric system being rewired. Imagine that every chakra, and there's way more than just the 7 on-body chakras that we're aware of. There are multiple chakras on the body, multiple ley lines, meridians in the body, multiple node points in the body. All of that is being recalibrated. So this supersedes a DNA upgrade. A DNA upgrade will certainly be part of it, but you're going to feel like you're reverberating. And of course, it's okay if your life doesn't make sense while all of this is happening. Because as the old programs rewire, what's going to happen? Grief. Because you won't know it necessarily at the cognitive level, but it's the grief of letting go of who you've been, the grief of letting go of how you've been. Remember, we've clung to the stories that we've believed in. We've clung to the stories of either our victimhood or our pain or our trauma or our suffering. And as all of that melts and dissolves, there's this weird who am I now kind of feeling. Who am I now? Where am I now? What am I supposed to do now? So on one hand, you may feel a little bit empty. Makes sense, right? Because as all of the dissolving of the multiple layers of the false matrix happened that was stored within you, because remember, that's where the false matrix was plugged in. As all of that dissolves, it's an emptying out. So you will feel in many cases that feeling like something's missing. But do you know what's missing? What's missing is the misery. And yet the misery has been so much of our identity. Timeline leaders, let's talk about that. So the leaders of the timeline right now are the light workers. And I will link videos below where I talk more deeply about the timeline and what's going on with that right now. The leaders of the timeline are the light workers. So it is whatever is the most prolific frequency on the planet, that's going to end up leading the timeline. The highest frequency on the planet is held by the light workers, and the light workers are holding a frequency that dramatically supersedes the density and the darkness that's being held by the malevolent ones who want to control the false matrix and control humanity. So those at the front line, at the helm of the light workers who are being called to that front line, meaning being called to duty to stand in the highest version of themselves, which is really the warriors calling, the divine spiritual warrior who knows they're not here to fight a battle. They're here to do something that takes way more courage, and that is to face themselves, to dissolve that density from within, to be the light in the darkest places. Those are the timeline leaders. In other words, the light worker leaders who are receiving the light that streams in first to the highest degree, and they ripple it backwards. The timeline leaders are generally very harshly judged, very deeply misunderstood. They tend to have a lot of fingers pointed at them, and they generally are okay with that. Their support team, you guys, you must know this. If you are stepping into that role of being a front runner or in the front lines of the timeline leadership, you have no idea how supported you are. And the same goes, by the way, if you're a light worker anywhere in the timeline, you have no idea how powerfully held you are, how phenomenally supported you are. The most powerful thing you can do right now is be receptive. And it becomes easier to be receptive when you're empty of the density, devoid of the pain. What you're then full of is space for more gratitude. You're full of light, because that's what streams in when the density dissolves. So yes, it's a shifting identity. Yes, there can be moments of grief. Yes, there can be moments of confusion. But guess what emerges? More you. More you. That's why the walk-ins conversation is so important. If you didn't watch the video, do go and watch that, because ultimately you're being calibrated to such a degree that more of your soul can come in to the body. We are the counterbalance to mitigate and offset all of that distraction, all of that malevolent interference, to bring about deep calm, deep stability on the planet. We're walking each other home. So can you imagine the timeline that we're holding in place? We, the light workers, you are a light worker. A light worker is simply somebody who works with consciousness, works with light. That's what it is. It's that simple. We're walking each other home. So there's this gorgeous timeline. It is absolutely flooded with light right now, but the light is lighter. And every moment of every day, of every week of this entire month, the timeline gets lighter because we're being called to do that. We're being called to bring the stability in now. So I'll see you right there in the front of the timeline, my love, standing together as we always said we would, right? We always said we would find each other. We always said we would walk home together. Remember what I said? There's the swirling energy that's literally on the ground right now. As one of the light workers interacts with that swirling energy, we bring not just a counterbalance, we bring a stability. Because humanity is going to feel this potential. They're going to get very easily taken off center by it. They're going to get very, very easily distracted by it. So what happens when humans are distracted? Generally, addictions become very big events. Generally, a lot of unconscious behavior, fear-based behavior, survival instinct kicks into such a degree that it's like, I don't care about you. I don't care about being polite. I just want to save my own life kind of thing. So that's where a lot of people are going to be. It's just such a unfortunate place for humanity to find themselves. But when they walk past that stream of energy that a light worker has interacted with, and please understand, the stream of energy that is right now sitting around you travels without bounds and without borders throughout the entire planet. So when a person who's being destabilized and off-center, they're in survival mode, they don't care about how they're treating others, they walk through their world and suddenly get a waft of the ripple that you left. They have a moment where they are restored to sanity. They have a moment where they are restored to clarity. They have a choice now that they didn't have before. That's the light that you're weaving. So from my heart all the way into yours, so much love and such deep gratitude that we found each other here at this beautiful point in the journey. Thank you for being the love. We stand together. We stand in love, holding each other, amplifying each other's light. This was never a one-man job. This was all of us together. And it's so beautiful to find you here. I'm going to leave 2 videos for you. Here's the video on walk-ins. Go watch that if you haven't. And here's a video that talks a bit more about what's taking place on the timeline. Bye-bye for now.